that night, I told the guys, I was like, hey, I'm going to make breakfast tacos tomorrow morning for everybody. Because I was so pumped, like, get to play on a private course here. So then that night, I had a dream that I had a food truck.
Oh, my gosh.
And so then I kept on talking to my mom about it because this is after, like, when I finally moved back home. And I was just kept on talking about it. And she was like, you could do this. And I was like, I think I want to. So that's kind of how the food truck started.
Wow, that is wild.
From golf.
Hi, I'm Courtney Gumbleton, and welcome to the Founders Club podcast, the show where you'll hear the incredible stories of the unapologetically ambitious women founders who are redefining the wild world of entrepreneurship in Texas. Welcome back to the Founders Club. Today we have a very special guest, my friend Sarah Castillo. And welcome.
What's up, girl? How
We're
are you?
so excited to have you here.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me.
So let's start off our conversation by talking about your childhood.
Yeah, baby Sarah.
Tell us about it. Did you have a cute little lisp like that?
No,
man.
I came up with that when I had my nieces and nephews. Then that started developing, and I can't get rid of it. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Oh man,
I just do it whenever I talk about Sewa.
Yeah.
And I always say Sewa.
So Sewa, tell us about your childhood.
Well, I'll tell you a story about the Sewa thing later on.
Oh yeah,
that was funny. Yeah, I mean, I'm a middle child from 3 girls, and then my older brother. But yeah, Fort Worth girl, grew up in the Southside, played sports, and I actually played for the Southside Little League for like baseball and t-ball, and I was the only girl on the team until I was like 13. And then my dad, because all the guys were starting to get really big and throw the ball harder, and so then he took me out and put me in like all girls softball. But yeah, it was just kind of
you just decimated them.
Yeah, which is actually really funny because there's a guy that actually plays for the Rangers now, and I struck him out when we were kids, and so he always tells people that story. So
that doesn't surprise me whatsoever.
Yeah.
So you said you're a middle child?
Middle child.
That's
yes.
so interesting because my husband's a middle child, and I'm the oldest. So yeah. I really feel like middle children are kind of different.
Yeah, we're pretty different. I mean,
you're not the oldest, you're not the youngest.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to stand out as the middle child.
And I think that's why I was like so goofy and just like funny I mean, I'm not trying to say I'm funny, but I'm pretty funny. So I don't know. Like, I think that's how I became like the little favorite.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you became the second person in your family to attend college.
No. Oh, yes. Yeah. My sister. Yes. So
okay.
In my immediate family. When you say family, I always think like my family, because Mexicans are like,
right.
My cousins are like my sisters. So yes, in my immediate family, I was the second.
In your childhood household.
Yes, in my childhood household. Yes. Even then, that's even confusing too, because I always had like 5 or 6 of my cousins always with us. So, but yes,
Nope, this is just for census taking purposes.
Okay. Yeah. My older sister went to school. My brother joined the Marines, was awesome, and then I went to school after that.
And didn't you earn a partial scholarship playing golf?
I didn't get into UT in Austin right away, so I played at UT Pan Am, and I got a small little partial scholarship. Like, it was tiny, but it was great. I mean, I played golf, and it was down in South Texas, and so what's not great about that, but. And also, that's where I found this recipe for tacos. So even though I was like mad at the world that I didn't get into UT my freshman year, I look back and I'm like, well, that's pretty cool that I found that recipe. And so
it's like everything happens for a reason.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I really
it's
like.
It's all about that journey.
It's the journey and like accepting it, and then also like finding little things or just like taking everything in. Because even there's like little things that whenever I lived in Spain for a little bit, I used this another recipe on my at Taco Heads too. So just taking everything in day by day.
I love that because I used to think that like serendipity, like, you know, the stars are aligning. But then I finally realized No, that's not what's happening. I'm living my life with my eyes wide open, like completely observant to everything around me.
Yeah.
That's what's making shit happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just like taking all those experiences and really like, it shapes you. So you just soak it in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
Sorry,
love it.
being a little deep on a Monday, huh?
No, I love it. It's funny you were saying like soak it in. All of a sudden I'm having visions of a sponge cake. I'm like, man.
Oh, gosh.
Hungry on a Monday.
Yeah.
So let's talk about golf. So you graduated from UT, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you continued playing golf with your friends. How has that sport formed friendships and inspired conversations that have translated into business?
So after college, I moved to Aspen, Colorado, and I worked in a ski shop. And then I was there, and I thought I was supposed to leave after winter. And everyone's like, what are you doing? Like, stay for summer. You come for winter, you stay for summer. And I was
they're like, the hard work's over. Just chill with it.
And so I worked at Maroon Creek Golf Course. And because I played golf, I got hired on in the pro shop. And they hired me just to play golf with the women on every Tuesday at this private course in Aspen, Colorado. So,
wow.
Which was amazing. And I worked with so many entrepreneurs, like Virgin Records. It was insane. So even there, I was just soaking it all in and realizing that I wanted to work for myself, and just seeing all these crazy, insane, people that are just obviously were extremely successful. But yeah, I golf was definitely helping out there. And then also moving back home. So I was working at Eddie V's, and I play golf. So then one of the members was like, hey, y'all can go and play golf. Me and the manager and another employee was like, y'all can play golf at this private course here in Fort Worth. And we were all excited. We're like, oh my gosh, that's so sweet of you. Thank you so much. And so that night I told the guys, I was like, hey, I'm going to make breakfast tacos tomorrow morning for everybody. Cause I was so pumped, to get to play on a private course here. So then that night I had a dream that I had a food truck.
Oh my gosh.
And so then I kept on talking to my mom about it, because this is after when I finally moved back home. And I was just kept on talking about it. And she was like, you could do this. And I was like, I think I want to. So that's kind of how the food truck started.
Wow, that is wild.
From golf.
So golfing with these women, and having conversations with them and learning about them and the businesses that they've started, that's kind of what inspired you to, I want to be my own boss?
Yes, yeah.
That is so cool.
And even now, there is this one lady, Stevie Ramsey, and she now owns Maroon Creek Golf Course, which is pretty cool too.
I just think it's so interesting that, I guess because as a woman, I hear about men on the golf course, having these conversations.
Talking business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And a lot of that, not to say that women can't be out there, but traditionally we aren't out there.
Correct. Yeah.
So,
or whatever. And also what pisses me off is, can I say piss?
Let's hear it. You can say piss.
I do play golf with the guys, and then they're always like, do you want to hit at the reds? And I was like, no, I'm going to hit exactly where you're hitting. And then I outdrive them, so it's good.
And then we drive the cart too.
Yeah. Actually, I'll let them drive the cart so I can just keep on focusing on my beer and my
sipping on your beverage.
Yeah.
So you moved back to Fort Worth and started working at Eddie V's and Globe Life Park.
Yep.
So what did that typical workday look like for you?
Oh my gosh. Going back. Oh man. So I drove my mom's minivan. The driver's door didn't open. And so I had to go through the passenger side. So this was her spare car that she used for work or whatever, just an extra thing that she would just throw stuff in. And so I drove that for a while. So I would go to work at Texas Rangers, and then speed home back to Fort Worth and have my Eddie V's uniform on a hanger, all of my stuff. So change in the car real quick, and then go to work and do it again the next day. But yeah, I worked 2 jobs for a year and a half, and that was my day.
So was it crazy hours?
Yeah, 9 a.m. over there till about 5, and speed over to Eddie V's, and then get off at 10 or 11, or I'm sorry, not 10, 11 or 12, and then probably would go and have a drink with my friends, and then go home and do it again the next day.
Wow.
So that's
Hustling.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So you already said a little bit. How did your time at Eddie V's inspire your future business endeavors?
Well, we came up with the name at Eddie V's. So
Okay.
the Eddie V's crew, the opening crew, was really special. And I'm really good friends with a lot of them. And even like the management crew, they knew what I was doing. So like Rich Sabatowski would like send me all these like cool articles and stuff of owning businesses and restaurants and whatnot. But yeah, so we were like polishing wine glasses in the back one day. And I was trying to come up with the name. And one of the guys, I told him, I was like, I really wanted like a mix of music, or like, I'm really into music. And the guy, one of them was like, hey, so what are you listening to right now? And this is back before like you had your phone music and stuff. So like in my CD player was Talking Heads. So he's like, what's in your CD player right now? And so I was like, Talking Heads. And then he looked at me, he's like, Taco Heads. And I was like, genius. Yes. So that's how I came up with it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love that. So back in 2008, Sarah set out to create the perfect taqueria experience for a cult following of her taco lovers, who would later be referred to as Taco Heads.
Taco Heads. Or Taco Babies now.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's why I have a little Taco Mama tattoo.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You know, I celebrate tacos on both Tuesday and Thursday, which, you know, some families only do Taco Tuesday. Not us.
Yeah.
We have Taco Tuesday, and Thursday is Tickety Taco Thursday.
That's cute.
Yeah, so that's how much we love tacos in our house.
Nice.
So your mother, Tinie, fell in love with your dream and shared multi-generational family recipes to inspire your menu.
Yeah.
Tell us more about this.
Yeah, I mean, my mom's a great cook, and just growing up too, like we didn't ever had anything frozen really. Like it was like always fresh stuff. And that's just how I learned how to cook, like my mom. But yeah, like just like the chicken recipe and the brisket. But yeah, she's a very talented woman and likes good food. And we don't have chef backgrounds, but it was just good cooking.
So did she completely support this vision?
Yeah, definitely. My dad did too, but my dad's a union guy at Lockheed Martin. He was like, you need to go apply at Lockheed. And I'm like, that's not who I am. That's not, I love and respect what my dad did. Obviously put us all through school and took care of his family, but that just wasn't in my soul. I mean, my mom's a hustler. Like she worked at the post office. Well, obviously like my mom did, she raised 4 kids and then started working and then like worked at the post office and carried mail in Arlington, like hard working stuff. Made breakfast tacos for all, like she started making breakfast tacos for her friends, and then people started like buying them at the post office. So like side hustle thing. And then finally she was like, I'm going back to school, went to TCC for 2 years and then transferred to TCU and she graduated with interior design. So
that's incredible. Yeah. That's a tough program too. Yeah.
My dad, it's very tough.
Yeah.
And it was funny. My mom was like, all these girls are wearing yoga pants. Should I wear these? I was like, absolutely not, Mom. Like, start wearing yoga pants.
Yeah. I went to TCU and that was when everybody was wearing the Nike shorts. It was like, oh Lord.
Yeah. And then my dad, he was so cute. He was like, I scratched something off my bucket list and we're like, oh, awesome, Dad. Like, what's that? And he's like, I had sex with a TCU student.
Oh my God. Mom. No, I get it, obviously. Yeah. But it's still funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually took Intro to Interior Design as one of my classes when I was a student. And believe it or not, there were only, I think, 13 students in that class, and 3 of us were named Courtney.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yeah. Funny and not surprising.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you started, your journey started by selling tacos out of a food trailer in the West 7th area. What was it like operating a food trailer during a time when they had really yet to gain any popularity or respect?
Everyone thinks of the food trucks as, they call it Coach Roaches or something like. So I wanted to create
Roach Coaches.
Roach Coaches, yeah. So no one really respected them, and they didn't think like there was actually like craft coming out of it. So I wanted to build a trailer, so something that was more approachable and unique and cool. So my mom and I she helped me like build the trailer. And it was just like cute and fun and neon signs. And I wanted like big windows so everybody could see inside. Like, hey, we're not sketchy. You're okay. You can eat out of a trailer. And then a lot of the businesses in the surrounding area were really hard on me.
Why? Just
because they thought I was taking business from them, and they're paying rent and I'm not paying rent. And I was like, well, that's just, I have a really good business plan. So
yeah, y'all both have to make a living.
Yeah. But so they were tough on me, and like the city of Fort Worth was like always coming to our door, like just trying to check us on, like try to find me for something. And it was tough. It was really tough. And I mean, I had to go through a lot, but it was okay. I did it.
Yeah, I mean, we both know that the permitting process isn't exactly easy.
Yeah. The permitting process, like just being out on 7th Street was new, and no one didn't know how to react to like what I was doing, but it all worked out, so it was good.
Now, didn't you meet one of your business partners on an Uber?
Yeah. Yeah, he was my Uber driver.
Okay, so how did that happen?
So I guess one Thursday night, I was like, kind of had like a little panic attack, or not a panic, just like really stressed out. So I told my right-hand girl, and I was like, hey, can y'all run the trailer tonight? Like, I'm just going to take the night off and just chill. And so she's like, yeah, like we got it. So she came and picked up my catering van and like set the trailer up and anyways, ran the show. So then the next morning I had to go pick up my van from her because we closed at 3 a.m. So she had it at her house. So I call an Uber and I get a call and it's my Uber driver. He's like, hey, this is Jacob. Like, I'm outside. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll be right out. So, and this is really early on. This is like 2015. So Ubers were still fairly new, and they were kind of sketchy. So I go outside and then I see this like black Jeep Grand Cherokee, TCU alumni sticker on it, a Duke MBA sticker. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like,
what a fancy fella driving an Uber.
Yeah. I was like, this is not like my normal Uber driver. And he rolls the window down and he was like, hey, it's Jacob. If you want to get in the front seat, you can. And I was like, okay, like I'll get in the front seat. And so I get in, and good looking guy, like hat backwards and like kind of like preppy shorts, like J. Crew shorts with little like giraffes on it or something, those shorts that they have. Yeah. And he was like, hey, like really energetic, and just starts talking. I was like, well, you're not like a normal Uber driver. And he's like, yeah, well, like I'm doing this I have this nonprofit, and everyone on the board has to Uber on Fridays or whenever. And he's like, my full-time job is a consultant. And so I can only really do this on Friday or Saturday. And so he was like kind of telling me about his nonprofit that they're doing. And he's like, oh gosh, enough about me. What about you? And he's like, what do you do? And I was like, well, I own a food truck in town. And he's like, no way, I love food trucks. And this is really how Jacob is, like so energetic and just funny. And he's like, no way, which one? And I was like, it's called Taco Heads. And he was like, slammed on the brakes. He was like, oh my gosh, I love Taco Heads. My wife gets me the food like when he comes back from he was in Ontario at the time, like traveling back and forth. And he's like, my wife gets me this food all the time and I'm obsessed. And he was just asking like my vision and about the company. I was like, yeah, I always have plans of having a brick and mortar. Like whenever we were doing the logo, I never pigeonholed myself with wheels or a trailer or whatnot. So I always envision us growing out of the trailer one day. So then he when he drops me off, he gets out and he was like, this is so random. He's like, I know this is crazy. He gives me a book to read from his professor at Duke. And he was like, read this book. Here's my card. He's like, if you ever want to a business partner or grow, just call me and I would love to work with you. So then worked through the weekend and then called him on Monday. And I was like, hey, let's get coffee. And so got coffee and then was like, hey, you're a good fit to what I need. And so, yeah, that's how I met Jacob.
I just feel like that is the best story I've ever heard of anybody finding a business partner.
Yeah. It was so great. And he's so funny. We were really close. He's no longer a part of the company, but we still talk. And he had to move to Tennessee, or now he's in North Carolina or South Carolina. But
well, and you found your next business partner through a Lyft pickup, right?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
But no, he was great. I mean, extremely smart. And one time, one of my good friends sent me an article and was like, whenever you're looking, understand your strengths, and whenever you're looking for a business partner or CFO or whoever understand like what your weaknesses are and grab that. So he was finance background and the numbers savvy guy. So
no, it really is great having a business partner where it's kind of like that yin yang relationship.
Yeah.
Where you just stay in your lane and you can lean into your strengths and skills, and then the other person is good at all those things that you really don't enjoy or you're not good at.
Definitely.
That's awesome.
It was, and then we were all just really goofy. So sometimes like we would just sit at his coffee table and his wife's like, how do y'all get anything done? Like y'all, I'm literally listening to y'all and y'all are not talking anything about work. Like we're it was fun. It was good times.
Okay, so this little taco trailer helped your business evolve into a full-fledged taco truck and then a brick and mortar location. How did you decide on the location of the cultural district?
Well, actually, we signed the lease for Taco Head's for the original Taco Head's brick and mortar was where Tinie's is now.
Wow.
So that was 2015, and it was just too early. And so like
For South Main,
way too early.
Yeah.
They were doing all the street construction, like water lines, gas lines, and it looked like a war zone over there. And so finally, I went to the landlord at Tinie's, and I was like, it's just taking way too long. And then we found this space on Montgomery because I lived on Bell and Jacob lived in the South in Fairmount, and so like us traveling back and forth, we would always go through Montgomery, and at the time it was called Trevino's, and we just drove by and we're like, look at that spot. Because we really needed a kitchen. Like we were just growing and we were just waiting for South Main to be done. And it was just obviously taking a lot longer than what we anticipated. And so then we searched and found who owned the land or who owned Montgomery Street and called him and was like, we were actually in Austin doing some R&D. And I was just showing Jacob like restaurants that I like in Austin. And we found him on Facebook and called him, and we called him, left a message, and was like, hey, we want this property, like, give us a call back. And so he finally called me back, and he was like, hey, like, I did some research on you. Whatever you want to do to this building, you want to make it Austin vibe or whatever, like, you can do it. You have to take both buildings. So at Tacos, there's a little cantina and another building, and then the patio is in between. So yeah, gave us a number and for our rent, we're like, yep, done, easy peasy. So that's how we found Montgomery Street.
What's it like now having Dickey's Arena across the street?
It's insane.
Could you ever have imagined that all those years ago? So many people always ask, they're like, did you know this was coming? And I was like, I wish I did. I mean, like, I wish I was the smartest person in the world, but I'm definitely not. Like that's no one wishes it and says like, I wish a 14,000 seat arena would be directly across the street from my restaurant. Like that just doesn't happen, but it happened and it was crazy. So it's definitely my grandma blessing me a little bit. So has it been a good thing for the business? It's insane. It's insane. Yes. It is crazy. And I mean, like we were, whenever we opened, it was great. We were really busy. They announced it. And then Montgomery went through construction. So yeah, that sucked. It was about a year and a half, 2 years of like the roads were tore up and like you couldn't get in. So we struggled, but we're like, all right, Dickey's is coming. Like we're just hold on and we're going to be good. And then Dickey's, we got a taste of it in concerts and it was awesome. And then COVID came and then we shut down for construction. So we recently just reopened up with the new patio. And so like, let's say Lake Shelton night was bumping. It was so much fun. There's people everywhere. Like we have a second bar. Like it was just a lot of fun and energy. And then as soon as the concert gets out, people flood over and it's like another like round 2 that night. So it's a lot of fun and it's great. And the remodel is wonderful. And we built it to take care of like all of the Dickey's people. So I love that. Yeah. Yeah. Cause you had a tent, right? Now you've got a full on awning and heaters and it's nice. Yeah. It's like a permanent infrastructure. And we have this amazing view too. So like you still see downtown and the beautiful Dickey's Arena. And so it's awesome. And the roads are done. Yeah. And all was good in the world. So Sarah, you are an avid traveler, right? Yes. Anybody who follows you on Instagram knows you love to travel. I love to travel. She gets around. So how has traveling the world shaped you as a business owner?
Yeah, I lived in Aspen, New York, and then Spain. And like we went to Ibiza a couple of times, and there was this one restaurant we sat at. And for dessert, it was pineapple. And so now at Taco Heads for dessert, on the dessert list, like it's like chili pineapple. But yeah, living in New York, we would always go to different restaurants. We would try not to go to the same restaurant over and over again. But yeah, New York was amazing. I would go and like hang out at Gramercy Park Hotel and like have one cocktail because that's what I could afford, and just sit there and just like take everything in and all of those experiences. But I worked for the Hudson Hotel, so hospitality was just kind of like in me, and I loved the experiences, the smells, and all that stuff.
So where are some of your other favorite travel places? And you love going to Chicago and New Orleans, right?
I love New Orleans. Yes. Been to Chicago a couple of times, and absolutely beautiful in the summertime, extremely cold in the wintertime. But yeah, New Orleans is a great foodie area. Anywhere I can like really eat some good stuff.
So that's what you look for?
Yes.
What about hiking? I mean, are you looking at any places to?
Yeah. So that I recently just went to Aspen by myself.
Ooh, love it.
For 5 days, and it was absolutely amazing. Opening 3 restaurants in 1 year was a ass whooping. So I needed to.
We can't say ass on here.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm just joking.
It really it tore me up, and then I just really needed to get away and decompress and just do Sarah stuff. So that's what I did. Like I would wake up in the morning, drink some coffee, do some work, hike, have lunch, did a spa day, play golf with some friends. And so it was nice. And then I came back home and ready to work.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was good. It's good times.
Yeah, it sounds like fun. I went on my first, solo road trip over the summer.
How was that?
It was freaking awesome. It was the best trip of my life, just to like do what I want when I want.
Yeah. It's so nice. And I think, I just got a relationship too. And so it was like nice to like, just like trying to figure out like what I wanted but I didn't figure it out. So,
okay, let's go back to work. You said that you took a break because you're opening up the 3 restaurants. So one of those, you brought on a new business partner, right?
Yes. Christian, right? Or are you talking about?
Yeah.
Well, 2. Christian Lehrman and Glenn.
Oh, okay,
Gilligan.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, I've only met Christian.
Yes. Chef, very talented guy. And we brought him on for Tinie's. And yeah, awesome. Extremely talented. Makes some really good food.
So let's talk about Tinie's.
Yeah, we opened I guess we opened a week before COVID.
I was at your grand opening party.
And it was awesome.
It was amazing.
Thank you. And that was a tough ride of like construction and working with an old building. I mean, if anyone's listening that's like about to open up a restaurant in an old building, like there's so many great things about an old building.
Like the charm.
Mm-hmm. But it was so tough to like do remodel. I mean, walls were about to fall over, and it was extremely tough, and it took a long time. But we opened, and then we had a really great week, and then COVID came, so then we had to shut down. So it was fun. Good times.
So how did you get through that? What did you do?
Drank a lot of tequila.
Oh, man.
But no, it was tough.
Did you have to like lay off your staff?
We had to lay everyone off.
And you basically just hired all those people, right?
Yep. Went through training, paid training, like everything. So we decided as a team that we were going to pretty much freeze the bank account, let everyone go, and then we'll figure out what was going on. Because we just opened, and we're not really like to-go friendly restaurant.
Yeah.
It's more of experience and higher end, and can't really do like ceviche to go or tuna tostadas. And so like it was tough. So we like emptied out our walk-in cooler and gave all the food to our staff and just shut the doors, and then opened up whenever it was 50% occupancy. So we did that. So
did you have to hire all new people, or did you bring the people who you had hired back?
We tried to bring on everyone that we hired for the beginning, but that didn't. I mean, we got a handful. Start with new inventory. We had to do it all over again. It was like opening up another restaurant. So that was tough. But and it was constantly like pivot. Like everyone kept on talking about pivoting. And by the time I was like, I'm so sick of pivoting. Like, I just want to
I
run the
know.
restaurant. But yeah, we made it. We made it
I
through.
feel like that was the word of the year.
Oh gosh, yeah. Word of the year for sure.
I just kept imagining like Ross from Friends with the couch. Pivot.
Yeah.
So did you have taco heads, like selling breakfast tacos? Did that kind of subsidize things for you?
Well, yes. Yeah. So we had tacos running, then we shut down for a little bit. And also we had, every time someone got COVID, like everyone had to.
Like your staff?
Yes. And so it was tough to even operate. You're just dealing with the operations as well. So then someone's like, oh, my mom has COVID. So then they have to quarantine, the whole drill. So it was
and there was so much that we didn't know back then too.
Yeah. So it was tough. So we did shut down for about 2 weeks, and then we opened for to-goes, and we have a patio. So then we opened for patio seating.
Yeah, that's really nice.
So that was good.
Yeah, because once people started like venturing back out, they were going to places with patios.
Yes, yeah. And it was springtime and summer. So then we shut down for construction. So we did a remodel. So it was a lot of crazy stuff this year.
Yeah. So let's talk about breakfast tacos. So
breakfast tacos,
you started selling breakfast tacos, and then you ended up selling breakfast tacos to like 15 different coffee shops. How important are these partnerships for you?
It's nice to get your brand out, but I mean, it was a great relationship. And yeah, I mean, it was, sometimes you struggle with people not showing up to work on time, and breakfast tacos get out late, and it's really great relationships, but morning stuff's tough with staffing.
Got it. So, the hits keep coming. Let's talk about when your food truck was stolen.
Oh, good times. Oh man. I actually started talking about that last night and started crying. But it was mainly...
Does it feel like it was just yesterday?
It does, yeah.
It's so emotional, isn't it?
It's so emotional. So it got stolen twice. One, we recovered it, and because trailers get stolen all the time. Like,
yeah. Well, bring us through the first time.
Yeah, the first time, like, it was fine. Like, I drove around all over Fort Worth looking for it. Like, I had a crick in my neck, like, looking through just driveways and, like, I was on every single part of the neighborhood. And it ended up in the south side, near my house.
Wow.
It was like...
Well, where was it stolen from?
The Tinie's parking lot. We kept it in that fence thing area.
Got it. So somebody stole it from behind your building.
Yes. So, and we had a fence around it because we were going through construction at Tinie's, so I would just store it there. And luckily, our landlord, she had security cameras like all over her property because she lives right behind it.
Yeah.
Too.
Well, your landlord's my landlord.
Oh yeah, yeah. And now like my best friend. So
she's amazing.
Yeah, she's awesome.
So they didn't take it very far.
So they didn't take it. It was
they took it to the Near Southside.
Yeah, it was literally like 3 blocks from my house.
Wow,
it's crazy. And like my ex-boyfriend, he's a cop. They found it, and he called me. He's like, "I think we found your trailer," and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And it was a customer that found it, and like knew my brother, and was like, "I think we found it." And then I called my ex-boyfriend, and he was like, "Okay, I'm going to go over there." I was like, "I'll meet you over there." And so it's literally 3 blocks from my house.
Wow,
crazy. Then the second time they stole it from Montgomery Street, and that again, like I'm like driving up and down neighborhoods looking for it. We didn't find it, and someone did spot it like on 30, and we were just like just trying to take all these leads in. Then the cops were like, they called me and they're like, "I think we found your trailer." And so they're like, "It's in the depot, like, so come over here." And so I was like thinking like it was me and like one of my employees named Brent. It's a real goofy guy. So we go up there, and I'm thinking like, "Hey, I'm going to go pick up the trailer. We're going to use it for catering this weekend. Like, it's going to be great." So he was like, "Do you have a picture of your trailer?" And I was like, "Yeah, it looks like this is it." And he was like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "Well, let's get in the car and like go over there." And so he's like, "It's kind of far away." So we got in the little truck, and they take us to it, and it is gutted. And I just see it. I just like start crying. And I was like, "Oh, this sucks." And it was so sweet. Like Brent was like, got me a card, and I guess that would make me cry. It was like, he said like, what was hard seeing me cry, like not not necessarily like me crying. It was just like me crying because all my hard work was like kind of fucked up.
I remember you texted me pictures of what happened.
Yeah.
It was just awful.
Yeah. It was
awful.
It was a punch for sure.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard. And it's like, you know, it's not personal, but it's like hard not to take it personal because that's your property.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely. And it wasn't, I mean, like I was so over the trailer. Like the trailer life was really hard and dealing with all that stuff. So I'm like, I was glad that it's finally was like out of my life, but like the way it went out was like, it was just a punch for sure.
So then you ended up getting the trailer back. Didn't you fix it up? And then...
No, we were done. We're just
really?
Done with the trailer. And then we still had the truck.
Got it.
So we kept the truck running. Actually sold that part of the business.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is you sold that to somebody.
To run it.
Yeah, because he was parking with us for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he still running it?
Yes. Yeah. He's actually starting a new concept called Gusto's too.
Oh, cool.
It's a burger pop-up at Dry's Hotel.
Nice.
So he's doing really well. And so right now he's running the food truck, but I as taco heads, but I think he's going to just solely concentrate on Gusto's, which is great.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. So after the Montgomery location, you opened up a second location in Dallas.
Man, you're coming with all the hits.
Yeah. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Yeah, Dallas was hard. Really hard. We got broken into like 8 times. And it was great. Like when we started, like I remember like we were walking around and was like, man, like it was bumping. And
where was it?
Off of Henderson.
Okay.
And we just went through like all this construction. Well, went through construction and then it was great. We were rocking and rolling, and then Henderson Street went under construction. I was like, "Oh my gosh, here's some more street
story
construction."
of your life. It's
Seriously.
like it's almost like construction follows you.
It does, and it's a pain in the ass. So then we just couldn't make it through all the street construction. Like they would block it off, and you could not get to our restaurant from 75.
It's awful.
And then we like got broken into like 7 times, and it was just tough. So once COVID came, we shut it down.
Just pulled the plug.
Yeah. So
at least that let you focus on
Montgomery and all the other stuff that was happening. Yes.
So
it was a nice blessing in disguise.
So it's no secret that iconic women are trailblazing all over Fort Worth. How did you settle on your cowgirl themed bar with your newest endeavor, Sidesaddle Saloon?
Yeah, Sidesaddle was so fun.
Is it saloon or salon?
Saloon.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah. I was having drinks with Marcus Pasley one day, and he was in Dallas, and I was in Dallas a lot. And so he was like, hey, like if you're available, have a drink with him and his like broker guy. So I was like, yeah, I'll come meet you guys. So met him. And they just told me that they're just signed a lease with Majestic, which is the alley. And I was like, what's going on over there? And they're just telling me, going through the name of like everyone who's entertaining of signing a lease over there. And it was guy after guy, like Travis Heim, Philippe Armenta, like Tim Love, and all respectable guys. And I was just like, man, is this the Stockyards or is it the Cockyards right now? Because right now
it's a sausage party.
It's a sausage party. And he was just dying laughing. He's like, the Cockyards. But yeah, and he was like, well, why don't you do something? Like, you do it. And I was like, okay. And so we like called Jessica, who was from M2G, and we're like, hey, Sarah's going to open up a bar. And we're just like, we were just brainstorming. And then we were like, yeah, it's going to be a cowgirl bar. And then Jessica was like, called me the next day. She's like, if you're serious about this, like put a plan together, a deck, like a vision board, and I'll run it by Majestic. And then Majestic liked it. And so then we're like, all right, here we go. So yeah, that's how it happened.
That is so cool.
Yeah. And came up with the name. We're at Clay Pigeon. It was half off wine night. And so like I was there with like Catherine Morris and all my girlfriends. And we were just came up with the name Sidesaddle Saloon. We're all throwing out names. And I was like, Sidesaddle Saloon. And then they're like, that's it. So yeah.
And it's such a cool logo. And I love your sign too.
So that was my sorority sister.
It's like my favorite.
Hand drew it. So very, very talented girl that lives in LA now, but at the time she was in New York, like graduated from NYU. And I mean, this girl's a genius and she's so creative and she designed the logo.
I love it.
Thank you.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
And the awesome thing about that area is they already did their road construction.
Oh,
right?
but it's still, we're sandwiched in between two restaurants. Well, actually it was 3. So where Second Rodeo is going.
Yep.
They were going through construction and we were trying to like be open during that. And that was tough. And then now Tim Love's opened up his restaurant. It's to the right of us and they're going through construction. And then to the left is that music venue and they're going through construction.
Oh,
so
geez.
Right now the landlords are great and they're working with us, but sometimes it's like hard to even see if we're open because there's so much construction around us. So yes, construction follows me.
Wow.
Yeah.
After more than a decade in business, what's one of the most important lessons that you've learned?
Don't be a dick.
I love that.
Egos can ruin people. Like, I don't know. I always want to just be humble and just focus on myself. And and you just never know who you're going to work with. And so just be nice to people, especially in Fort Worth. Like you're going to run into someone all the time. And so it's nice that I am just kind of a loving person anyways. Like I give hugs all the time. Like handshakes are weird to me. And I'm like, oh, just bring it on in.
Yeah.
But yeah, just don't be a dick.
Yeah. I mean, you're super approachable and warm. So have you encountered other business owners, whether men or women who, I mean, are dicks?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yes. I'm not going to name names, but yes. Yeah. And people obviously talk about people in this industry. And maybe like I just see it from afar too, like in Dallas, but there's not, I mean, everyone in our industry here is like, for the most part, extremely sincere. And I think there's something special about Fort Worth and our culinary like peers. So like everyone's just like wants everyone to be successful and champions everyone and then supports them by going to their openings or supports them while they're just doing takeouts during COVID. So
yeah,
you know, like
it's super like collaborative and cooperative.
Yeah.
And not competitive. But every once in a while, I mean, somebody does come out who's, you know,
just a dick.
Doesn't want to play.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to play with others.
Yeah. So I just like to play nice with others. And yeah, and I just you don't want to come across as that as well.
So a few years ago, you came out.
Yeah. Woo! All the hits. Yeah.
Well, but this is a good thing.
No, it was a good thing. But it was tough. It was so hard.
What was it like?
I cried a lot. It was like every time I like talked to my friends or family, like I just like started crying. It was funny because whenever I told my mom and my brother, I was at the kitchen table and my brother like gets up and he had his napkin and he throws it on the table and he was like, I knew it. And so it made me laugh. But no, it was really, really tough.
But I mean, did everybody?
Yeah, it was like, more in my head. Everyone,
yeah,
my family accepted me, like all my friends. And it was more just me and like it was my head that was like
just
really
that fear.
Yeah, and like a lot of my friends are like, no one cares.
Yeah,
but it was in my head and it was tough. But now, like, was in a relationship, and so that was like 2.5 years of a relationship, and it was good. So now I'm comfortable with it. But yeah, I had like Megan Henderson. I reached out to, and I was like, hey, like, can we talk? So we met at Central Market and she was like, are you about to blow my mind right now? And I was like, I think so. And so I told her and she was a huge support. And there's like a lot of times too that I was like, I was biking with Bronwyn one day. She just wanted to take me on a tour. And so we were biking and like, I wanted to tell her, I was like, I don't know how to say this, but I finally like told her and like reached out to her. And so there was a lot of local support as well, so that I could like people I wanted to talk to or figure it out. But yeah,
I mean, everybody loves you, and it's so. I mean, you know, especially in the Near Southside, people are so inclusive, and I mean, it's your life.
Yes,
like do what you want. It's your life. Like who gives a shit what anybody else thinks? Like,
and I think it was me.
Haters are gonna hate. Whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it was just me like trying to figure it out on like my end. So I'm like, what do I do?
Yeah. I mean, it's part of your identity. So it's like, who am I?
Yeah.
And what does this mean for the future? And like what I envision for myself and all that.
Yeah. Like it all just changed and you see your life going a certain way, and you think like, oh, you're gonna get married to a man and have kids, and they're all gonna go. They're the same age as your best friend's kids, and it doesn't turn out that way. So
totally. I always thought like when I turn 16, I'm gonna get a car. I'm gonna like graduate from college, and this and this, and nothing in my life has gone that way at all.
Yeah.
But like I kind of look at it like this, like when you're a kid and you watch movies and people are having sex in the hot tub and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Like I can't wait to have sex in the hot tub someday. And then you do. And then it's like, wait, this does not work the same way.
Definitely.
And so I feel like, like what you had envisioned, it's sex in a hot tub. Like it's not supposed to work that way anyways.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, and it was just, it was, I don't know. I think it makes more sense too, because like all my past relationships with guys, like I was pretty like hardcore, I guess. Not hardcore, but just like.
Just yourself.
Yeah, tougher, I guess. Yeah. And then once I started dating girls, like I was just like really sensitive. Like I'm very sensy. They're like, I was just texting with one of my best friends today, Andrew, and I was just like talking about this one girl, and I was like, cue Cincy Sarah. I was like, I get real sensitive now.
Aww.
But yeah.
Well, I mean, don't you think who you spend your time with kind of like that brings that out in you?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not so I didn't think
you're
I
not
was
supposed to surround yourself with dicks.
Yeah. I don't know. It's fun. It's a wild roller coaster. And now my family and I, we all joke about it. And so like, well, I was talking to my friend, and I was just telling about like this one time, like I start drink right now. I drink like tequila on the rocks. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I just like when like girls are drinking like cool stuff, like, and not like girly cocktails.
Like a cosmopolitan?
Yes. And so like
Sex in the City drinks?
Yeah. And I was like, one time I was in New York, and I was sitting at the bar at this really cool trendy hotel, and like this girl comes in, and she has this biker helmet on, and she takes it off, and like her like beautiful hair comes down, like just dark and like just beautiful. And I was like, then I like stopped while I was talking about this girl, and I was like, if I knew then what I know now. So there's like little signs. I'm like, how did I not know?
So this has been really fun. I guess the last question is, what's next for you? What exciting things do you have lined up for the future?
I'm done with restaurants. I will not open another restaurant again. Just tough. Really tough.
What about bars?
No more bars. I'm getting into the spirit industry.
Ooh. So give us a taste. What's happening? We
have this property in Fort Worth on University that we have under contract.
Oh, cool.
We actually close tomorrow, and we're opening up a tequila company.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. And it's right here in the middle of Fort Worth, and we're going to have a boutique hotel on it as well. And
is it going to be your hotel or somebody else's?
Oh, it's going to be our hotel, but we're partnering with Bunkhouse from Austin.
Oh, okay, cool.
So they will be running it. And so we're working with Bunkhouse. Like they actually come next Wednesday, and we're going to be going all over the city and touring them and stuff. But yeah, that's what we're working on.
Fabulous. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming out, Sarah.
Hey, thanks for literally get it coming out.
Oh, God, I didn't even mean it like that.
No, that was great. I loved it.
Salwa.
Oh, Salwa. Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. This was awesome.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the FoundHER's Club, where women aren't just building a business, they are building themselves. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at FoundHER's Club. Or you could visit our website, foundhersclub.com. Send us any questions you have or recommendations for future podcast guests. Even better, you could spread the love by subscribing to the FoundHER's Club on iTunes. And if you really love us, leave us a 5-star review. This will help other listeners just like you find us. Now go share your magic with the world.